Hello and welcome to 100 Hours Later, a new series we're starting today, starting with Red Dead Redemption 2. I play a game for 1 hour, I review it, I come back 100 hours later, and I review it again, and we go over my first impressions and my last impressions and what changed in between. Um, Leave a comment if you agree or disagree with anything that I say in the video. Let's get going. So, I'm going to be rating Red Dead 2 based on 5 different categories: gameplay, story, graphics, sound, and playability. I'm going to start off with gameplay, and I've given it a 3.5. The reason I've given it a 3.5 is twofold. The first being that there hasn't really been any action or anything that's grabbed me so far. Most of the time that I've spent in this hour has been just trundling through the snow, looking for John, or talking with Dutch and Micah, and it's actually been very few elements of actually what I consider to be playing the game. It's been a real slow burn so far. I'm hoping it's going to pick up, but it's 3.5 for that reason. The second reason is the food bars and the stamina bars. They weren't in Red Dead 1. I was glad they weren't in Red Dead 1, and I'm not a fan that they're in this game now. If I'm going to have to spend every 5 minutes feeding my own character and on my horse in order to be able to play the game, I hate that. We're going to see how it progresses, how quickly the bars fall down, and how much it's going to bother me. But I have a feeling it's going to really irritate me, and that brought it down from probably what would have been a 4 down to a 3.5 for me. I'd also like to touch on the point that the brawling and fist fighting element of the game was a bit lackluster, and it just felt like I was button mashing the B button, and the guy wasn't really fighting back. And I just thought I'd just briefly mention that as well. I thought that was a little bit disappointing. And I know I'm harping on the negatives here, guys, but I was just picking out some of the flaws. Overall, I do think the gameplay is quite good. I do like the gunfights. I do like the direction the game's going in, but it's just been a little bit too slow. Moving on to the story next, I am going to give it a 3. And the reason is kind of similar to the gameplay reason, that it's a bit of a slow burner at the moment. Not a lot's happened. It is the build-up. But the themes feel pretty generic. Like, cowboy, oh, we've got to escape from the law. You know, it's very Red Dead 1, and it doesn't feel very original at the moment. There's no unique grabbing aspect for it right now. It doesn't make it bad. It just doesn't make it very, different to what we've seen in the past. I have been told by a few people that the story is mind-blowingly good, so I'm expecting the rating to go up after the 100 hours. Fingers crossed, anyway. Otherwise, I think there's going to be an army of haters that are going to come after me for this one. Moving swiftly on to graphics and sound, I'll do these two together because they're the two elements of the visual audio experience, and I've rated them the same. They're both 4, and I've said that because even though the game is 5 years old, or almost 5 years old, the graphics in this game are still absolutely stunning. That's not contestable in the slightest either. This game's graphics will hold up for at least a decade. And I've given sound a 4 for exactly the same reason. There's a real attention to detail in here that Rockstar have done that is mind-blowingly good. Like, every time that you change surface that you're walking on, whether it be the type of snow, whether it's that thick, heavy snow, or the trampled down snow closer to the village, or the horses whinnying in the background, or the birds chirping, there's always this atmospheric sound, this background noise that really immerses you in the game, and it helps me believe that I'm in the place that I'm in within the game, and it's really increased my view of the game, and it's made me want to play it a lot more just because of the sound itself, which I think is really impressive. Yeah, they've done really well with that. Moving on to playability, I tend to always ask myself one question with that, And if I wasn't doing this series and I was playing this game for the first time and played an hour and I put it down, would I pick up the controller again the same day or the next day at the nearest possible chance, or would I just go and do something else? And I'd like to give a hesitant yes that I would pick it up. And for that reason, I am going to rate it a 3. But if it doesn't improve quickly, and if another hour goes by and we're still in the snow doing these long, slow, drawn out horse rides, it might dissuade me from playing it any further. That combined with the gameplay elements that I don't like the food and the stamina and having to feed yourself, etc., mechanics that I don't like about games, those will be like probably the defining factors for me. But that is the first hour done, and this is the graph as it stands now. Everything from beyond this point will be my impressions after 100 hours. So stay tuned. So it's been a few seconds for you, a few months for me, of playing some Red Dead every now and then. I'm actually at 124 hours, not 100 hours, and this is my progress right now. I think I've got a good idea of what the game is. I've completed the story. I've done a lot of the side missions, not all of the side missions, but most of them. And I've dabbled in the multiplayer quite a bit as well. I'm even on a second playthrough through the story, which might give you an inclination of my final impressions early on of the game. But yeah, let's get right into it. So, here are my final ratings after 100 hours. As you can see, all of them except graphics have gone up. The biggest changes are to story and gameplay. The most surprising one to me that went up actually was sound, because I already thought the sound in the game was really good after the first hour. Let's talk about the biggest change first of all. Story. I think everyone that's played the game before knows why story's gone up quite so much as it has. This is a spoiler warning to anyone that hasn't played the game or doesn't want to know about the story. I'm going to mention stuff that's critical to the story now, so if you're not wanting to hear it, leave. As you guys can see that are aware of the story, I've got a nice cutscene playing in the background with Mr. Thomas Downs and one of the main plot points of the game, which is Morgan's tuberculosis and the slow progression of his disease as you play through the game. I love the way that they've managed it, where it starts off that you don't even know that you have it, and then somewhere along the line you just sort of notice every cutscene he's coughing in, and then he's coughing a little bit more, and you're like, what is this? This is a bit strange after a while. I personally was a bit slow to the draw, and I didn't actually realize he had tuberculosis until almost up until like the doctor's actual diagnosis of it. It did catch me by surprise, and it was a really cool element to the story that I haven't ever seen before in a video game, and that tied in with things like Micah turning Dutch against you and the splitting up of the gang, and seeing how it slowly turns from Red Dead 2 and how it progresses into what then becomes Red Dead 1 is a really cool thing to see, because you just, at the start, you don't really understand why it happened or even how it happened, because of how sort of tight-knit the gang is at the beginning, and that slow progression from tight-knit to not trusting each other, almost killing each other, is awesomely done by the devs, and hats off to them. This story was fantastic. I can't fault it really at all. I thought it was brilliant. Moving on to the gameplay aspect, really pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a huge ordeal to have to feed yourself or your horse to regenerate Deadeye and stamina and health, etc. It was actually quite a minor thing that you could quite easily do while moving. I made a big deal out of it when I first started playing the game a few months back, and it's not really a big deal at all. Also touching on the combat, the bar fight that's actually quite early on in the game was a big eye-opener to actually the combat is more fun than I was giving it credit to begin with. I think initially I was being far too critical, just for the sake of being critical, really. And no, the combat system's quite good. It's quite classic Rockstar, to be honest. And you guys can probably guess playability has gone up. And for obvious reasons, the game is amazing. You can play it through as a good guy or a bad guy, you know, high honor, low honor mode, which changes some of the cutscenes as well. The multiplayer is really replayable, and the challenge is only to play 100 hours. I've done way over 100, and I can see myself easily hitting 200 hours in this game. It's super, super fun. And the final point that I'm going to make is on the sound, which, like I said earlier, was surprising because I already thought it was good in the first hour, but you notice so many little extra details. And the next clip that I'm about to show you guys, I won't do any commentary over the top of it. I'll just let you hear, birds in the background and people talking and the ambience of the game. It really surprised me, and it's a really good touch by the developers, and I sometimes just stop just to appreciate the noise and the background noise of this game, and I'll show you what I mean now. And that's everything. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know if I should do more 100 hours later, or if they should be a one and done experiment. Not very good at all. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in the next video.